Hey everyone, today's video is probably going to be one of our most controversial videos. We're going to be talking about some of the restaurants in Walt Disney World that we think are overrated.
Yeah, like, not necessarily that the food's bad, but it's not worth the hype that's surrounding it. And I'm like on a lot of Disney social medias, and we've got lots of friends that have been, they always go, you should go here, or this is the best place I've ever eaten in my life. And then we went and we were just like, meh.
So take everything we say with a pinch of salt. Nothing we're going to talk about really is that bad. It's just places that have got such a high reputation that we just don't understand how they've got that reputation, pretty much.
For us.
For us.
And if we recommend it to people, they've not necessarily always liked it either. So these aren't in any particular order. And most of these are Ash's opinions because he cares a lot more about food. I like eating food, but like I can eat like bad food and still be like, it was alright, whereas you like...
I really like food. Like, food is my thing. I love food. So to go somewhere to some of these places and to really be expecting like an amazing meal that I've heard described to me, and then what you actually get afterwards, and you're kind of like, oh, this is not. That's one of the things that really bothers me. So yeah, this is me nitpicking about restaurants in Disney, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. So the first one we're going to talk about is it depends, I think, on your personal preference to taste.
Sanaa. And Sanaa is one of the Animal Kingdom resort restaurants. And every time I've ever seen a review about it online, everyone loves to tell us about how good the butter chicken is, how good the food is, that, you know, it's really spiced and really flavorful and like just really good food. And I don't know where they ate, whether it was just we went on a bad night or if they went somewhere else. Because the food there was fine. It was okay. It definitely doesn't live up to the reputation that it has of being this really, really good. I think, you know, people say that it's authentic, or, you know, at least trying to be more authentic than some of the other Disney places, and it's just not great. You had the
butter chicken. The
butter chicken, and it was okay.
Bland, yeah. The
chicken was overcooked. It wasn't spicy, which I'm totally fine with. I really like spicy things, but I totally get that in a restaurant, you don't want to be cooking something that hardly anyone is going to order and that no one's really going to eat and enjoy. So I get that restaurants don't do like spicy a lot of the time. But they also didn't do spiced or flavored or seasoned particularly well. You had the chicken and I had the lamb that they had at the time, and it was supposed to be nice chunk of lamb with a spice blend, which I figured, hey, it's not going to be spicy, but it's at least going to be packed full of flavor, bunch of herbs, spices, seasoning. It tasted like lamb. That was it. That was the predominant flavor of that dish. It was just lamb flavored, which was fine. It was an okay piece of meat. It came with some decent sides, but I was expecting to actually taste something better than that.
It's not somewhere I'm going to go back to again. I still really want to try some other Animal Kingdom Lodge, like
definitely
Jaico and I can't remember the other one's called, but Jaico mainly I think is the one we want to go to next. So once we've been there, we can probably review it and see if it's a whole thing of Animal Kingdom Lodge restaurants, but that's kind of where we're at with that one.
One thing I will say though, the bread was really good. That was the
good.
Best thing about the meal was that starting
and the
bread
cocktails.
Service. And the cocktails were
great. Are good.
So, you know, it wasn't all terrible, and it was a fine meal. It just wasn't what I was hoping.
Wasn't as good
given
as I was hoping.
how it had been described to me.
Now, I don't eat barbecue food because I don't really like meat that much, which is, well, no, backtrack. I don't like meat on the bone, and barbecue is predominantly, or fat, is meat on the bone with fat usually. So that's like not my thing. I don't like barbecue sauce that much either, so barbecue's not my thing. I've been told by so many like sites and people that Flame Tree Barbecue in Animal Kingdom did an amazing barbecue, and people were like that was the best place to eat in Animal Kingdom. And I said to Ash when we went, because he loves barbecue food, like, you have to try this place. I said to my family when they went, it's like, you have to try this place. It's amazing. So actually, I was the person overhyping this situation. I was the one going, everyone, you're going to love it. It's really good barbecue food. Like, you should go, even though I'd never eaten there before. And your food wasn't great. And my parents' food, they had to take it all back because it was that bad. They took it back. I think the chicken was cold. There was problems with the food. And it just wasn't great. So it just wasn't great.
It's definitely one of those ones that wasn't your fault. Like, Flame Tree was for years like one of those ones that people would recommend like constantly. They'd be like, Flame Tree in Animal Kingdom is really good, and I just don't get it. The barbecue sauce, there wasn't enough of it on the meat that I had. It wasn't great what sauce there was. I've had like jarred sauce better than that, like just straight from a bottle at my house. And that's kind of just really disappointing when you've gone to a theme park. Yeah, okay, you kind of understand it's a bit of a quick service that we went to. It was just kind of a window pretty much where I picked it up. And it was in a theme park, but I at least expected it to live up somewhat to the reputation. Like, this was one that I went in going, okay, it's probably not living up to the hype. It just didn't even live up to my expectations of a reduced hype of this restaurant.
It just wasn't good.
It just was a bit rubbish.
And you can say that Ash maybe had a bad meal, but the fact that my parents then went and then also had a bad meal, and there was 6 of them that all ordered, and I think one thing was nice, and the rest of it was cold, really fatty, no flavour. So it's not just Ash's experience. It's not a one-time thing. This is a couple times now that we've had problems with them. So it's not somewhere I would maybe go again. I'm pretty sure I've had flame tree barbecue food before, like when I was a cast member. I think at the parties they used to give you that because it was cheap.
Yeah, well, a lot of it's pork, and pork is really cheap.
Yeah, just pulled pork. I expected amazing, from what I'd heard, amazing barbecue, really juicy, really good value for money, this amazing food that you'd expect from anywhere, at least TGI standards. I expected it to live up to the standards of TGI Fridays, and I don't even think it did that.
That's pretty much what I went in there with. Like, I heard about it and I was like, I'm not going to hold this to proper barbecue like standards, because I've had proper barbecue before. I've had like proper slow smoked, loads of fat in it, and it's been great. I love it. This was just a really poor imitation. It honestly felt a bit like what English barbecue was. Like, just not quite barbecue. Hitting the mark, and just definitely not what I expected.
I just went to Restaurantosaurus because I never have a bad meal there. Just saying. Chicken nuggets for the win. Right, next one.
Oh, man.
You can talk about this one.
Yeah. Again, this is going to be one of our more controversial videos, just because we're airing stuff that we don't like that commonly everyone else likes. And I know for a fact there are some people watching right now that are going to hear this next one and go, look, I'm done. I don't care what these people think. They're clearly wrong. They're wrong about food.
Thumbs down. Yeah.
Thumbs down. I didn't think that Le Cellier was as good as it should have been. There. I've said it.
Okay, so if I had to do a one-word review for Le Cellier, it'd be meh. It was... And you know what? When we were there... No, okay, hear me out. When we were in the restaurant, we were like, this is really nice. I'm enjoying my meal. This is really good. Like, this is a really nice steak. This is a really nice pudding. I'm having a lovely time. And then as the holiday went on and we got better meals, we were like, no, that wasn't a very good meal. So, like, if that's the peak of where you're going and that's kind of going to be like the centerpiece of your holiday and that's going to be the main meal, then you'll probably really love it. But the fact that we had so many incredible meals like Yachtsman, California Grill, I now look back at Le Cellier and go, it was dark, the food was good, but it was like, it wasn't special. It was a well-cooked steak.
Well, I'm going to butt in here and say that no, it wasn't. I've had Le Cellier described to me before online and in person as the best steak on Disney property. Like, someone has actually said those exact words and said, this is the best steak on Disney property. And they'd eaten at a lot of places. And it doesn't live up to that hype for me because we went to Yachtsman and had a far better steak. The meat that I had was a ribeye, which is, you know, a fairly fatty cut of meat, which is fine. Like, I'm not going to mark it down for that. It just wasn't particularly great. Like, they didn't season it super well. I don't think that they cooked it quite to where I'd asked them to cook it for. I'd asked it for sort of rare, which, yeah, you probably shouldn't do for a ribeye. But I like that. But they went really rare, like very much on the rarest side of rare I've ever seen. And I didn't want to send it back because I was enjoying it. It was just a big bit of meat on a plate with some potatoes, and then they just dumped a bunch of leaves on the top, all over the top. And
actually, do you know what? We're going to insert a picture here of how his main came out, because I actually laughed a little bit. Like you were
I'm not kidding. It looked like a plate of salad, and it didn't feel like a great meal to me.
Badly plated.
It was, and I was expecting like a really nice meal. Like, this was one of the ones that I had the highest hopes for. We almost didn't do the Yachtsman because I was like, well, we're going to Le Cellier and everyone said that we're going to love it and that will be the best. And that's why I think I'm so harsh on this one, because I feel like it almost took away me knowing what Yachtsman was like.
We almost didn't go to Yachtsman. Like, I think it was like afterwards we were like, should we do Monsieur Paul's? Should we do Yachtsman? Should we just cut both of them? Like, whatever, we got some spare credits. We might as well try Yachtsman. Oh my god, like, so glad we did. That's my favourite restaurant in Disney. We're not even talking about favourites, I need to back up, but we're talking about bad places. Not bad. Overrated.
And that for me is why this one ends up on overrated. Like, we almost made the decision to go somewhere less good based on the advice that we'd had, which was, it's amazing. And it's not. It's great. The dessert was quite nice. My cocktail was quite good.
Mine was rubbish. I had the creme brulee. Sorry, just one thing I want to interject here. So you get put into sections of Canada. So we were put in Montreal, I think, weren't we?
I didn't pay attention to that.
I think, but that's all that's all that comes from that. He's like, oh, you're seated in Montreal. Never mentioned again. What does this mean?
Just a tacked on bit of theme.
It's not like, I don't even think the restaurant was themed in sections. I think you just sat in provinces of Canada and that was that. And you just so you know, hey, when you leave here, at least you'll remember one name of a city or a province in Canada. Someone's going to comment being like, actually, there's a reason behind that. Like, well, I didn't know.
It wasn't explained. Yeah. It wasn't explained, so it doesn't count.
Okay, the next one is my pick because Ash hasn't been here, and we will be going again because we have a friend that would love this.
Yeah.
So
okay.
unfortunately, but I know what to expect, and I'm definitely going to ask for a table next time, not a booth. So this is the sci-fi diner in Hollywood Studios. So I was really looking forward to this. I actually remember as a kid being like really scared about this place, like seeing it, because I think it used to be Monsters. I swear it used to be Monsters before sci-fi. Always like all the image of it.
I think it's always been like sci-fi, but they've had like mixed in monster movies in the branding. Maybe.
Yeah, because I remember the image used to be the car, and it used to like have green and purple tentacles like coming out of it and stuff.
That's very sci-fi.
Yeah. So I went to this place when I was on my college program. So a group of us, all my age, so I think I was like 20 at the time, and we got given a car, which we were like amazing because a car's what you'd think you'd want, if you want a conversation, because the way it is you have two people sitting like this, and then two people in front of you in the car, and they're obviously facing forward. So you can't really talk to people that you're with, apart from the person you're sitting next to. Because
it's like a car.
It is a car, and it was really awkward, and we tried to turn around, but it was really uncomfortable. And then the film, I don't know why, I just assumed that they would show a film, or like, yeah, I just assumed they would show like an old film, like a, Nosferatu, or just some kind of like sci-fi horror.
Probably sci-fi. Because it's a sci-fi diner. But this was the assumption that I'd always made, having never eaten there myself. When I heard about this afterwards, that it was just clips being played, I was a bit like, well, I guess that makes sense, because you don't want people sitting there watching the whole movie and taking up tables, but...
It's really disconjointed. Like
that kind of sucks. Like, I mean, how long was the loop?
I couldn't even tell you, because there was not enough to grab your attention. It's good for kids. I can imagine this would be a great restaurant if you're two parents and two or one kids. You can have the parents at the back, chilled out. You've got the kids in the front. They entertain themselves. They don't have to look at you. They can watch the screen. It's all dark and dim in there. It's all themed. You get glow-in-the-dark cups. Like, that's great. But for adults, for me, this was terrible. And the food, I'm quite a picky eater. I was more so back then, and I just wanted a burger, and I think the only burger I could get was like a picnic burger, which had a sausage or something in it, and it was okay. Like, it was, I don't even think I think I preferred the cheese and bacon burger you can get from a quick service location. And I was just like, this is okay, but like, it was really dark. It wasn't what I wanted it to be, which was a shame, because it was exactly what it advertised itself. It's not what it is. That makes sense. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't claim to be anything more than what it actually is.
I just expected, from how much people were raving about it, that it would be a better experience and that it would be a lot more immersive than it was. I don't know, it just wasn't great. It just wasn't great.
This is one I'm seeing recommended less and less these days, but still one that whenever it comes up in conversation, people always go, oh, if you're after that one, get it quickly. It's one of those ones that goes really fast, and it's really great. It's an amazing time. And it just, from everything that I've heard, like, it just doesn't sound like it lives up to its own reputation anymore.
The theming isn't as good to carry it, I don't think. Like, it's novel.
Well, the gimmick's not enough.
Yeah, the gimmick is not enough. If the gimmick and really good food, that'd be an amazing place. And if I know what to expect next time, so I definitely wouldn't order a car. But then, what are you going for if you're not going for the car?
Yeah, because then you'd have to be going for the food, and it doesn't quite deliver on that either.
The final one, well, technically it's 3 if we're going to really...
Yeah.
2 of them are the same, and one of them is slightly different, but they're all owned by the same company.
Have you guessed what it is yet?
T-Rex / both of the Rainforest Cafes. I hate the Rainforest Cafes, and do you know what? I went to T-Rex. I've been to T-Rex twice, and I've been to Rainforest Cafe probably twice, and both times everyone's like, "This is amazing, you'll love it. All the animatronics, it's really immersive." Blah blah blah. It's even T-Rex, which is the newer version, isn't great. It's either really cold in there, so cold. The food is
edible,
overpriced, and it's really loud. And that's T-Rex. Rainforest Cafe, the one I've been to both. I've been to the Downtown Disney one, Disney Springs one, and the Animal Kingdom one. Animal Kingdom one's better. It's a lot quieter as well. Disney Springs, hated it. It smelt really bad because we were put near the water, which I don't think they ever really cleaned that water with the fountain bit. It just felt old and dusty, and the animatronics just were okay. It just wasn't good. And as I said, the food was really expensive, and it wasn't that great for... I think I got I didn't even get something complicated. I think I got chicken and chips, or burger and chips, or something basic. There's something you shouldn't really have a problem making, and it was rubbish.
Now, I know what you're thinking. You're sat there going, yeah, but you two don't have kids, so you clearly don't understand the appeal of the restaurant. We're including on this list because this has been recommended to us seriously by online forums, people that we talk to that have been. They say, it's great, you should definitely go. You don't have kids, that doesn't matter, you're going to have a great time anyway. It's one of those ones that people still recommend and still think, yeah, this is a great one. And we're just like, I don't get it.
Even if you do have kids, I think sometimes, depending where they put you, it's probably a little bit too intense for younger children. Like, it's really loud. Like, if you're not sure what's happening, especially in T-Rex, when the meteor... Spoiler. When the meteor...
Spoiler alert.
By the way, the dinosaurs got killed off by meteors. So when the meteor shower happens, it's really loud. And then all the animals start reacting and freaking out. And if you're a little kid and there's a big old T-Rex or the mammoth or whatever it is, I was a really scared child anyway. That would have really scared me. So that's like, I don't know who it really appeals to, because I think when you get to a certain age of a kid, it's kind of lame.
Yeah, I think that definitely suffers a bit from that problem. Is it's like, well, we'll go because it's a nice family restaurant. It's like, but if you've got any sort of older kids, they'll be like,
maybe 8 to 12.
This is dull. And yeah, 8 to 12 is probably like
6 to 12, maybe pushing it.
8 to 11, something like that.
We
don't know kids. We don't know. We're just guessing here. But
I have 2 little brothers, so I'm kind of basing it on when they would have liked it. But
the point we're making is that this is something that people need to stop recommending to adults going by themselves. Let's all take a step back and just look at it and what it is and be like, if you love animatronic dinosaurs, loud noises and mediocre food, this might be up your street.
I think there's some pretty good cocktails though.
And yeah, maybe.
They were really overpriced though.
They were. But again, like with all of our stuff, like we're not saying this is a bad restaurant. It's bad for us, but even if we loved it, I don't think it would still live up to the way that people recommend it. And that's kind of what this list has always been about, is it's been...
Hyped restaurants we regret going to because we gave into the hype. We gave into the peer pressure.
Yeah, absolutely that. Everyone told us we'd have a great time, and we had not as great a time as we were promised, which sounds really first world problem-ish, but
yeah,
we had a less good time at this restaurant than we thought we would.
It wasn't bad, like, apart from, I think, Flame Tree Barbecue, but then people still have good meals at Flame Tree Barbecue. It depends what your palate is, what you like, what you eat. But for us, like, if someone had never met me before, and I said, and they went, this is exactly how it's posted in, like, forum stuff. If I'd never been to Disney before, and I said to someone, like, give me some really good restaurants I'm going to love, and they named these ones as, you have to do them. Can't do anything else. These are the best of the best of these ones. That's kind of where I'd say these are really overhyped, because in all of these categories I could probably think of a better restaurant to fit these. So, soz.
Yeah, please don't be offended if any of these are your favourites.
But they are bad.
No, you can't say that.
I think they're bad. I would never eat in any of these restaurants again.
You're the worst.
They would ruin my Florida holiday.
They're just overhyped. So thank you for watching our brief foray into maybe more of a negative video than we're used to making.
If you love these places, you do you. This is awesome. We're not going to fill the seats in the restaurant for you. We're not going to take your reservation, so you're fine. If you ask me, will I eat them? Probably wouldn't again. But that doesn't mean they're not good for some people, just not us. So thank you for watching. I really enjoy making negative videos, so we shall be making some more of these. And also, don't take it as a be all and end all. It's like...
We're just two people on the internet with no authority to say what's good and what's bad.
Telling you what's right. I need to go, otherwise I'm just going to take... Don't eat at these places, right? So we'll see you next time. Bye!
Don't believe the hype.
Don't go.